Well, hello YouTube. Different kind of video today, or rather a different game today. Not really different. Today I'm playing some Shenzhen IO. Recently started playing this. It's tough to call it a game because it's just so incredibly frustrating, but at the same time incredibly rewarding. It really feels like more of a learning tool, honestly, than a game. Really work on your analytical skills, problem solving skills, all that. Anyways, I wanted to show one of the solutions from one of these because it was a crazy one, and I think other people have had issues with it as well because it's a weird one. I'm gonna say it's a weird one. Thankfully, it didn't actually take me that long, although it's not overly optimal, but it works, and that's really all I care about. So here it is. It's it's big. There's a lot of shit. Basically, what we've got to do here is when this button is pressed, a 6-digit number is, or not really. It says a 6-digit number. It's not really a 6-digit number. It is 6 digits, either 1 or 0, corresponding to the 6 inputs of the display that are either 1 or 0, high or low. So basically what we need to do is we need to read those 6 numbers, which will either be 100, 100, or 0. We need to convert it into a 3-digit numerical. So let's say for the first one here we want it to be 110. So I'm going to take in 100, 100, and 0, and I need to make that 110, and this one is going to be 101 for that. So what we do, I mean, there's a lot here. The wiring is a little crazy, as you can see, but it's a good thing you can feed multiple pins into one. So I've made use of that in a couple different locations here where I've got X3 and X2 both feeding into D0. I was actually X3 to D1 at first, but realized after, when I was getting some weird results, that it's actually starting in a different position. So it uses a different pointer on this side. So when I reset the pointer with A0, this D1 just ignored it. Started in somewhere else. So X2 and X3 are now both reading from D0. And then to reset the pointer, I've got both X3 on my first MC6000 and X1 on the MC4000 feeding into A0 to reset it. So it may be ugly, but it works. Pretty impressed, actually, pretty happy about it. Anyways, let's see it work. So what we're doing here is we're waiting for the button to be high. Otherwise, we're just going to ignore it. We're going to sleep for 1. We're not going to do anything. So let's see it working. So we wasn't high. We sleep for 1. Wait for the next cycle. We are high now. So we're going to start processing. So we grab the first number, stick it into the RAM. We increment the counter. We're checking here to see if we've gotten all of the 6 numbers. We're then going to loop. We sleep for 1, we loop, we grab the next number, throw it into RAM, increment the counter, we sleep for 1, we loop, and we continue doing this until we get to the counter so we increment. Now we're at 5, so this is the last number going in to the RAM. We are 5, so we're going to obviously not continue getting numbers. At this point, I don't know, it's probably not the best, but it worked for me. At this point, I am going to reset the pointer in the RAM. I am then going to send a signal to the first MC, or the second MC6000 rather, the one that's actually going to put the number together, compile the number, if you will. So we send that off, and then now we're waiting for a response from this MC4000, which is actually feeding the compiled numbers into the display. I have to stop processing here. I can't sleep because then it's going to screw up. As you can see, once I feed that last number in, it already wants me to update the display before I even really get that last number. So as soon as I get that last number, I have to update the display. So as soon as I feed that last number, I have to wait for everything else to be done. So I've done it in an interesting way, pretty hackish, but it works. So now that we have all the numbers, we're gonna now compile it. So we check if the first number is equal to 100. If it is, we add a 1. If the second number is equal to 100, we add 10. And if the third number is equal to 100, we add 100. We then move that number into this guy down here. This is like our feeder, if you will, the display chip. This is our GPU. So we grab the first number and we stick it into the accumulator just for now, just for holding. We send a response back up to that second MC6000 because, again, everything needs to be waiting while we're updating the display. The whole kind of process has to be paused while we update the display. So we send it to wake it up so that it can get the second number. So we're moving basically our response, if you will, into dat. A 1 just means that we want to wake up and continue going. So I suppose I could have sent a 0, but anyways. If we get a 2 back, that means that we've updated the display and we want to go back to a sleeping state. So we grab the second number from the RAM. We haven't updated the pointer, so we're still at the position 3. We read the first number, we test the first number, we test the second and third number, and we move that bad boy over down here. That wakes us up. So we move what's in the accumulator, our holding spot, into the display, the bottom display. We grab the second number from X0 and we move that into the display. Now we move a 2 back because we're done processing. This is going to grab that number. It's woken up now. It's going to grab that number. We know that it's a 2. It's going to go back to a sleeping state. This guy right here is sending a 0 into the RAM to reset the pointer so that this can actually write into the correct position. And we're sleeping again. We're waiting for the next number. So as you can see, the display has been updated. So we've got the right symbol showing. And now we're just waiting. This thing is basically sleeping until we get the next one, which we've done. The position on RAM has already been reset, so when we start writing, it's just going to be, we're just overwriting. When we get to the end, I mean, it's basically the same thing. So we get to the last number. We send the last number in. We reset the pointer. We wake up the second MC6000, the one that's doing the work, and we wait for a response after the display has been updated. So if we now just reset this and just play it all the way through, and maybe speed it up a little bit, we can see that the display is matching and we success. Definitely not optimal, but it definitely works, so I'm happy with that. Anyways, that's that. Off to try to solve more of these crazy puzzles. And yeah, hope to see some videos from other people.